Hi, this is Brian, and this is my Beaver Valley 22-23 school year summary. This is our last year's fall 21 to spring 22 math, and this one's our this year. So we made really strong gains and improvements in fourth and fifth grade. This is last year's reading, fall 21 to spring 22. And this is this year's reading, fall 22 to spring 23. Good, strong gains in fourth and fifth grade. And the last slide for NWA. This is last year's language usage, fall 21, spring 22. And this is this year's language usage. So we made some good gains. We didn't make gains everywhere. This is our DIBELS data. This is for this year, from this fall to this spring. The way that you read this is that up where it says grade 3 and it has a little person, says 31 students. That's where we started in each one of those categories. So third grade had 31 students that were listed as intensive, 9 students that were listed as strategic, 27 students that were listed as core, and 20 students that were listed as above core. And then the bar represents where we are now, and the little people below them represent where we are now. So in that intensive category, we started out with 31. We ended with 21. 2 of them moved to strategic, 7 were moved to core, and 1 of those that started out the year as intensive ended up above grade level or above core. So that's our third grade data. Here's our fourth grade data. Here's our fifth grade data and the school-wide data. I'm going really fast because I'm going to ship the slideshow, and you can spend all the time you'd like to looking at the slides. Pretty tough to look at slides over a video. This is our Beaver Valley. This is something that we're really proud of. We developed our own data gathering tools, and we captured data all year long. This is what the state likes to call local data. Anyway, this is from our targeted intervention. The top slide represents students that were involved in reading intervention. So you're going to see 415 students were involved all of last year. What that means is some students were in several different reading intervention groups. We had 394 in math interventions starting in November, 164 GT advanced in November. Our ELL interventions were 332, and one-to-one interventions were 55. Total minutes of intervention, this is kind of staggering stuff. Our reading all of last year is 116,725 minutes were involved in reading intervention. Math was 107,200, GT 51,700, EL 78,250, and one-to-one interventions 13,275. The bottom is a little bit more difficult to explain, but basically that's really where we started with gathering our data. You can't say that your intervention is working or isn't working if you don't have people receiving it, or they're not receiving what you're intending to deliver. So what we were shooting for is above a 95% or above an 85% attendance rate. And each kid in intervention counts for a little bit of that percentage. So if a kiddo is out, then your attendance rate goes down by a little bit. If your reading interventionist is out, then reading intervention didn't happen that day, and it's a much bigger chunk of the overall attendance. So we were shooting for 85%. We did pretty well, not perfect, but it was a major UIP focus. So we had attendance gathered, and we knew how much time we spent. And then these are our results. So the top two are math for first and second semester. And they were very narrowly targeted for number, sense, and quantity. And it measures beginning of year to middle of year, and then middle of year to end of year, based on which semester. And then those are total numbers of kids across the top. So of the total number of kids, 18 decreased in the first semester for math in number, sense, and quantity. 5 stayed the same, and 40 increased. And the range of growth on the increase was anywhere from 1 to 30 points. There's some really good data here. The second semester of reading, Dibble's accuracy, beginning of year to end of year, nobody went down. 1 stayed the same, and 16 increased. And some of those increases were by as much as 74%. These slides in blue represent surveys. This one happens to be a staff 4-day week survey given on September 22nd. So please select response most closely reflects your feelings. I'm enjoying the 4-day week is 65%. And in red, they're deciding. And in orange, it's I'm not enjoying the 4-day week. So that's a beginning of the year. This is an end of year, same question. It is a different survey, but we did use the same question. This one comes from our building systems and reflection survey, where we're trying to figure out what we're going to use for some of our UIP work next year. Anyway, this is the same question. Select a response mostly closely reflects your feelings. Enjoying the 4-day week, 100%. 24 respondents, that reflects certified staff at Beaver Valley. Beginning of the year, are you better able to address student needs? 52.9%, and 32% gives you roughly 84, 85%. End of year, either 70% say yes, or 29%, basically the remaining, that they haven't really noticed the difference. Explain your ability has been impacted by the 4-day, more time to be creative, more time to cover curriculum. 4-day week has provided enough time to cover the same amount of material. No negative impact. Teaching is more focused and specific. Beginning of the year, have you noticed a positive difference in student behavior? It's kind of a wash. This is our end of year. 75% notice a positive difference in student behavior. 25%, no difference at all. Some of this stuff is pretty powerful. This wasn't a question at the beginning because we really didn't have that much time with the 4-day week. But now that we've had a year, this is anecdotal evidence or observations. There's some impactful stuff in here. Partway down this list, there's a statement that says the 4-day school week has increased my quality of life. There's a lot of these anecdotal evidence slides, so there were 3 of them. I like the second bullet down on this one. I feel I have a better work-home balance. I work until 5 or 6 each school day. When I'm at home, I can take care of my family responsibilities and personal care. I've missed much less days this year, partly because I'm healthier due to being able to rest. Buildings have a less stressed and anxious feeling in them in the 4-day week versus the 5-day. Anyway, you can read those through the slideshow. End of year, our system reflection. Do you have enough input in decision-making process? 83% said yes, and 16% said no. This comes from a parent curriculum survey given this fall, so August 11th at our open house. My child has access to appropriate classes. The important pieces here are in purple and that Tar Heel blue. So purple is agree, and the Tar Heel blue is strongly agree. So 80%-ish. Curriculum instruction address my child's needs. 66% and 12% either agree or strongly agree. Teachers at my child's school know what to teach. 63% and 19% agree or strongly agree. I know how to access my child's scores and progress towards standards. 61% and 22% agree and strongly agree. I have opportunities to meet with my child's teachers to discuss their progress. 71% and 21%. 92% either agree or strongly agree. My child's school has systems in place to address my child's needs, such as intervention, English language development, response to intervention, special education, gifted and talented, and enrichment. 62% agree, 22% strongly agree. And it's probably important to mention that all of these have 149 respondents. So those are the people that, were at open house on August 11th. These were additional comments from that very same survey. Most of them are no. There's some good positive stuff in here. Keep up the good work, pay off. There's an interesting comment in the middle, not about curriculum, but would like the kids to have cell phones packed away in their backpacks, powered off or on silent. They're not to be used other than after school or communication with students. That actually was our policy at the time and is basically our policy now. This is our staff absences from last year and this year compared. If you look at the bottom, total last year was 684, and this year total is 636. This was something that got shared that was shared at PTAC meetings as the data developed for this year. Student attendance. So how did the 4-day week affect our student attendance? I'd say attendance was marginally better this year. September, October, January, April, and May were all better this year. Last year's attendance were better in November, December, February, and March. Oops, I need to take that one out. Discipline. Beaver Valley 22-23 school year, 152 incidents entered into Alma, 26 majors, 16 major incidents resulted in out-of-school suspension. That involved 17 students. 7 major incidents resulted in in-school suspension. That involved 10 students. 3 major incidents did not result in either ISS or OSS. And there were 126 minor incidents. Some of our social emotional data, this is courtesy of Ms. Servey. The students do a daily check-in, and 26,276 daily check-ins were recorded this year at Beaver Valley. 106 requests to meet with the nurse, 139 to meet with the classroom teacher, 570 requests to meet with a counselor, for a total of 815 requests to meet with an adult. Now, these are anonymous. They're completed right at the very, very beginning of the day, and in some cases, in many cases, before the day actually officially starts. Some of the student emotions that they're recording in those daily check-ins, About 1,200 of them indicated that they felt upset. 1,600 indicated they were not feeling good. They were sick. 2,100 were sad. 5,800 felt silly. 14,000 indicated they felt ready to work, and 19,000 indicated that they were happy. This is some of her data from her own data keeping. By her, I mean Miss Survey. So these are the problems that they present as she's discussing with them. Some of the big bars down here on the bottom, friendship struggles, pure conflict is the big bar. These are her session focuses when she's talking with these kiddos. A lot of discussion about, what's the stressor and how you can cope. Peer relationships is a big issue for our kiddos. These are some of our EL highlights. 2 of our 3rd grade students moved from non-English proficient to limited English. 14 out of our 15 are now limited English proficient. 5 of our 4th grade students moved from non-English proficient to limited English proficient. 17 out of 23 students are limited English proficient, and 2 students are now fluent English proficient. 86% of our students showed growth in their overall score, and 1 of our 5th grade students moved from non-English proficient to limited English proficient. 13 of 14 students are limited English proficient, and 1 student is fluent. 53% of the students showed growth in their overall score. Special education. Dibbles, 100% of our students made growth in their composite score from beginning of year to end of year. 95% made growth on their fluency scores. 97 of them made growth on their accuracy scores. On NWA assessment, 80% of our students made growth from fall to spring on their reading. 88% of them made growth on their language assessment. 83% made growth on their math assessment. And this is really a big one right here. 4 students were staffed out of special education. That's a big deal. This is more of our small group targeted intervention. So these are just some of the highlights. The math 2nd semester groups, the average growth for our students' number and quantity score was 7.88 points from middle of year to end of year. Our middle of year fluency scores grew an average of 27.38 words per correct minute from beginning of year to end of year. 3 3rd grade students moved from intensive to core on their composition score. 1 of our 3rd grade students moved from intensive to strategic on their comp score. 2 of the 4th grade students moved from intensive to strategic. 2 of our 5th grade students moved from strategic to core, and 1 of our 5th grade students moved from intensive to strategic. Our middle of the year accuracy students grew an average of 14.5 points in their accuracy. May not sound high, but looking at cut scores, typical growth in accuracy is 1 to 2 percentage points. So it is kind of a big deal. This is more about a literacy night. You probably saw our little video on that. 325 people attended, 160 or more students, 6 community members read to the attendees. 15 students participated in a poetry slam. 100 people attended that poetry slam. We served 275 free hot dogs, and Ms. Peterson's class had the highest attendance rate at 71% and won a visit from a published author, and that visit appeared on 9 News. Our transition in trying to smooth out those rough transition zones. Step up days. We did 5th grade SPED to 6th grade, April 17th, 5th grade to 6th grade, May 3rd. Our 2nd grade special education came to 3rd grade on May 8th. Our 2nd grade as a whole came on May 17th. I offered 4 different times to have coffee and what I called coffee and conversation with me on May 18th, which was after the 2nd grade step up day from 8 to 8:30. And I had one on May 22nd from 8 to 8:30. I called it discussion and drinks when I did my afternoon sessions. So they were again on May 18th and the 22nd, and they were at 3:45 to 4:15. Ms. Servi and Mr. Reyes from the high school, they collaborated and started a mentor program between high school students. They used the Source of Strength program with some of our fifth graders at Beaver Valley. And that program focuses on building positive friendships, connecting to healthy activities, teaching students how to lean into their strengths during challenging times, whether that be transitioning to a new grade level or school or facing a variety of difficult circumstances in life. Some of our other teacher transition / vertical alignment meetings, we had some on March 24th with Beaver Valley and Thompson SPED. We had April 14th, we had 3rd and 4th grade meetings, 5th and 6th grade meetings, Beaver Valley and Thompson's Reading Intervention Group, Beaver Valley and Thompson Special Education Group, Beaver Valley and Thompson's EL Group. May 12th, the 3rd and 2nd graders met again. The 4th and 5th graders met on that day, and Beaver Valley and Thompson's math group intervention met on that day. May 23rd, Beaver Valley, Thompson, and the GT coordinator for GT met on that day. And May 24th, Beaver Valley and BMS special educators had a meeting involving transition. So a lot of stuff going on to try to smooth out those rough times. My last slide, I believe, is that administration of Beaver Valley completed 276 walkthroughs this year. And that is, in fact, my last slide. And I would leave you with this thought from Albert Einstein. Everything that can be counted does not necessarily count, and everything that counts cannot necessarily be counted. Have a good day.